Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's start off with the Brooklyn and Valentine stuff because I'm gonna be honest, I don't really understand why she didn't just tell Valentine about the plan at this point. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, she kind of confused me a little bit because she goes on this whole, oh well, I'm sorry, this, that, and the third. She goes on with these apologies, which means absolutely nothing. And then she keeps on it to saying, well, if you knew the real reason why, there was a real reason why I did this. But then there's one point where it seems like she just wants to kind of take the, she doesn't want to sit there and tell him about Maxie. So she kind of puts it on herself like, well, I just did this because it is, and I didn't mean for anybody to get hurt, and yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, okay, so now you're just going to have him mad at you. I'm I don't even know what to say about this at this point. Because I still don't understand why she just doesn't tell him the truth at this point. I mean, yeah, he's still gonna hate you, but there's a good chance he may still go along with the plan. I mean, hell, even with Maxie, because Maxie was talking to Nina, and she was all frantic and stuff like that, talking about her plan is falling apart, which, surprise, surprise, and Max is like, well, maybe if he knows, like he may sit there and decide to help us out still. And Nina was like, yeah, like if you would have told him months ago, but now, yeah, I don't know about that. Um, Meanwhile, you got Chase, looking more into Brooklyn as far as like, I guess like the easy pass or whatever, just sit there and see where she was going and stuff. Runs into Bobby, and Bobby's into telling her about Maxie and why well Maxie. Hold on, let me try this again. So Bobby tells Chase about Maxie not wanting to go to the hospital and wanting her to deliver the baby at Beach's Corner. So she tells the story and stuff like that. And, even before she got there, Chase was like, yo, this story is not adding up. And then after talking to Bobby, he goes in the room with Valentine and Brooklyn. And it looks like just as um Brooklyn is about to sit there and tell the truth, maybe, um that's when Chase comes in there, and Chase is like, yeah, I'm the father's child, I'm the baby daddy. I don't really like that term, but I just couldn't really sit there and think of the correct term at the time. But yeah, he comes in and steps up as the father. And I'm just like, what are we doing? I mean, I guess that's the best of a bad situation, you know. And Chase is a cop. He can sit there and probably protect Bailey just as good as Valentine. Well, probably even more than Valentine now, because Valentine is barely able to walk. So, yeah, okay, all right. Chase is your better option, so that's cool. Sunny and Karlie. You know, throughout these, episodes, and Karlie, Smith, like I feel like I understand to an extent that there's a disconnect between the old Sunny that you knew and the guy that you see right now. I mean, he's not totally different. He's not. It's not like he walked in and he just has a totally different personality, and you're just like, oh man. It's like, all right, he's changed a little bit, but he's still him. And point is, you still have your husband back. So Sonny pretty much just doesn't want to go to war with Nina. He's like, yo, listen, let the past stay the past. It was an accident. Just let it go. But Karlie is just all fired up, and she's getting to a point where she's like, well, I don't understand why you don't want to go to war with me, pretty much. Like, he doesn't, she doesn't understand, like, why, she's, he's not as angry as her. And, he starts talking about his past in Nixon Falls as far as like, the people that he met and the friends that, he's made when he was in town. And one of the friends was Nina. And I mean, you can tell this is where Karlie is just like kind of losing it a little bit because Karlie's like, you consider her a friend? Um, I didn't hear that at all. I'm pretty sure I heard him say that when he was in Nixon Falls, he considered her a friend. He didn't sit there and say anything about them being friends now. Where are you going with this? Um, but yeah, he's like, we're not friends now, but that's just how it was back then. So they're sitting there talking, and they're having this serious conversation. And Bobby comes in because Bobby was supposed to sit there and meet up with Karlie. So Sonny leaves, and Bobby's like, "What's wrong? Like you have this look in your face. Like what's going on?" And Bobby sits there and think is the tension between Karlie and Sonny as far as Jason was concerned because they were going to be a thing for some odd reason, and Karlie's like, "No, we moved past that." And that's when Bobby's like, yeah, I can understand that because, no one wants to be the third wheel in a relationship. So now Karlie's sitting there thinking that she's jumping to that conclusion. And to be honest, she's not wrong, but she's not right either. Like, obviously, there's nothing going on between them now. But when they're in Nixon Falls, yeah. And the fact that Sonny still hasn't sat there and told her is just, I mean, at this point, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. And, she's going to find out anyway. The difference is now she's going to be pissed. Before, you was able to explain that away when you got back after a couple of days, like, hey, listen, just that I kind of almost, got a little kind of hot and heavy with Nina. I mean, not now, but, I have my memory back then. It would have been bad a little bit, but, she would have understood, especially considering what she was about to sit there and do, y'all were going to be on an even playing field. On an even playing field. But for some odd reason, he decides to keep the truth from her. Like, really? I mean, and seriously, you was just upset with Nina from keeping the truth from you as far as your past, but now that you got your past back, you're keeping this from Karlie. And I understand that they're not exactly the same, but I mean, lying by omission and keeping a secret is still wrong. So things go from bad to worse with Sasha and the baby, and they're gonna wind up actually having to do a C-section because of like the. Hold on. I'm not gonna lie, I tried to pronounce that and I just couldn't, but pretty much they gotta do a C-section. So Brando's worried and he goes out there, to the, I guess the hall, the waiting room or whatever. They see Nina and Maxie and they try to comfort him and just kind of just, keep him calm and stuff like that. They start asking him questions like, did you come up with any baby names? And, he's so worried about Sasha that he forgot that they kind of came up with some baby names, but his mind is not even really there. So Maxie accompanies him to the OR because, she was like, I've been through that. I can, kind of prepare you. So they get there and, Brando gets in the room. They're about to sit there and do the C-section. They do the C-section. They take out the baby. They have this weird, I'm not going to lie, they had this weird music when they, like, oh, here's your baby. And it was like this weird, like, magical, it's like it was like sprinkling dust or something like that. And I was just like, what? Like, it was just the oddest thing. But then after that, and I maybe they might have did that on purpose, because after that, they take the baby somewhere else for a little bit, like another part of the room. And both Sasha, and I'm not gonna lie, even before Sasha and Brando kind of reacted, I was like, yeah, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And the crazy thing is, like, I know it's like a TV show, but there was a certain part where like my heart kind of sunk a little bit because you didn't hear the baby crying. So automatically I was like, yeah, this is bad. Um, and when Brandon was sitting there talking to the doctor, you know, pretty much more or less the doctor was kind of like, when she was like, we're gonna sit there and take care of both Sasha and the baby, meaning that there's a good chance that, well, both of them is gonna go. Now, I feel like if they had to sit there and choose between the baby, Sasha, Sasha can go. Um, I mean, I've said this before. When Sasha and Brando first came to town, and Sasha was with Michael. Brando was kind of a new guy, or whatever, just kind of doing his own thing. Also being part of Sonny and his family, whatever. As far as the business was concerned, they were interesting characters. The minute that they put those two together, it was boring as hell. It was so boring that after a while, Gladys became the highlight of those scenes, which is really sad because when Gladys becomes the highlight of anything, we have a major problem. So, when I'm sitting there watching the show and, like, they're like, oh, like, Baby and Sasha are in danger, I'm like, Sasha can go. I mean, I'm. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to kill her off or anything like that, but I just, I don't know. I don't really get a lot from her at this point. And in this weird way, who is that other woman that Michael was with? The one that Patrick was going out with, and goodness. If you watch Young and the Restless, they got a guy named Ashlynn, and he was Dylan's dad. Sabrina. She starts. I don't know why, but I felt like in a lot of ways she was starting to remind me of Sabrina. And I remember when they killed her off, I was like, okay. I mean, her death was more of an impact on the show than when she was just there. And I feel like, not to say I want them to kill her off, but I feel like her death would actually have more of an impact on the show, with the characters and Brando being like a single father. So, and then you see the previews, and it looks like they're both. Well, it looks like Sasha's like not doing good at this point. So, who knows? So Peter is not there taking Britt and Obrick. Whenever I say their names together, like one after the other, for some odd reason I always get confused. Anyway, Peter's not there leading these two women, through these rinkety tunnels, and Obrick is like, yeah, we don't have to go back because if we don't, we're gonna die. Like this whole thing is just gonna sit there and collapse. And 1 second. Peter's like, no, we're not going back. We're moving forward. We're gonna get out of here. Stop distracting me. Stop antagonizing me. Hell, at one point, even Britt was like, can you stop for a minute? Like, just calm down, because, he does still have a gun. But, I don't know. I guess old Brick was like, listen, at this point, it doesn't matter, because if he doesn't shoot us, this whole thing is going to collapse and kill us all. Meanwhile, you got Jason and Drew, tracking them, well, going to go and rescue them. And, Drew kind of sees some tracks or whatever, because I guess there's like a split in the road. But, Drew is able to sit there and kind of figure out which way that they went. So, there's one point where Peter's talking, and Drew comes in and he points a gun at him. Now at this point, it almost looks like, Peter's about to sit there and reach for a card or whatever. But Jason shoots him in the arm, and there's some gunfight. Peter bails. Everyone is, kind of breathing a sigh of relief a little bit. Britt is pretty much all over Jason because, why not? And of course, I'm not gonna lie, I just found it so funny when she, when she hugged him, and then she was like, it's no big deal. It was just, whatever. It was like, why do you keep sitting there trying to downplay your feelings for him? It's like everyone in the room knows how you feel about him, and you're just like, nah, it's just, whatever. But then there's other parts where she's just like all over him and stuff like that. And Peter just, I guess can't be, satisfied with just, getting away and living another day to fight. Decides he wants to sit there and start, trying to ambush them. Meanwhile, earlier, Drew was like, listen, it's not a good idea if we start shooting people. We're going to have to sit there and fight them straight up because gunfire and tunnels, it's not gonna go too well. But, there's a shootout. It almost looks like, and then there's one part where it's like the caves start looking like they're about to start to collapse. But it also looked like Jason got shot. So between that and the caves collapsing and the really terrible slow motion scene that happened before then, don't look good. Don't look good. I mean, seeing the previews, sort of aftermath of everyone just like lying down and stuff like that, like they're unconscious. And I'm not gonna lie, when Peter kept shooting and Jason was like, get them out of here, get them back or whatever. Come on. We all knew. We all knew. We all had that same thought. Now I almost don't even want to say it. I almost don't even want to say it because I don't want to sit there and be, spreading false information or anything like that. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of rumors that's going around saying that Jason is leaving. There's a channel, and I'm not going to sit there and say what channel, that was heavily sitting there applying that Jason was leaving, even though that person said that there's not really, that there's not confirmation. But because this person didn't sit there and say that they were leaving, or no, didn't sit there and say anything, they didn't respond to the question, that person assumed that they were leaving. Again, I'm not sitting there saying names, I'm not sitting there throwing shade. Not sitting there saying I don't throw shade at channels, it's just I'm not doing it on this one. But we all knew. We all knew. We all knew that it looked like Jason got shot, and this is his, final act, or, killed off, or whatever you want to sit there and call it. I gotta be honest. Like, here's the thing, if Jason has to leave, even if it's like, whatever, maybe they could just put him in a coma. Bring him back, put him in a coma or whatever, and then trying to work out some deal behind the scenes, and then bring him back. But here's the thing. And I'll sit there and say this about both actors. Okay, I'll sit there and say this about Jason. As much as I want Jason to stay as a character, I want Steve to do what he feels is right for him. I don't want him to sit there and stay, for the money and the fans, and he's just like really hating it, hating just being there, and he, takes the vaccine even though he doesn't want to take it, and he's just doing it because it's like, all right, fine, whatever, I'll do it, Because there's something about that, as far as watching a show, any show. And then you find out, like, midway through, it's like the characters even, the actors even like the show. He's really just a really terrible person. Or, he doesn't really want to be there. It's just something about that just kind of takes the magic out of, you watching it, or at least for me. So, as much as I want, Jason was like, oh, I don't want him to leave and blah, 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 blah. And I kept sitting there saying that. And, it's just literally now that I'm sitting there thinking, like, you know what? And I can't speak for everyone else, but I can sit there and speak for myself, is that in a lot of ways, I feel kind of selfish because I want the character to stay. But if he doesn't feel it's right for him to sit there and stay, then I want him to do what he feels is right for him and his family. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to sit there and respect his decision either way. And that's the same thing with Jax or, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sit there and try to pronounce this guy's name. But, the actor that plays Jax, I'm going to sit there and respect his decision on, leaving or just being like, you know what, I'm out. Whatever the case is, I'm going to sit there and respect his decision. Now, he has said some... Now, this is just my opinions. I have a feeling that I'm going to sit there and say something that's going to land me in a hole, but you know what? Screw it. The actor has said some things that have been controversial, to say the least. I don't think some of the things that he says, like as far as the comment about, like people sitting there saying, oh, he's being transphobic or, whatever. I personally don't think that he's being transphobic. I think that he says some ignorant things, but I don't think that he was being transphobic. And you can tell where it's just more of a case of ignorance rather than a case of hate or anything like that, because then he comes out of nowhere and he's like, oh, the actress that that plays Liz's friend, Cassandra, I think that's her name. Jax is all like, oh well, if I was transphobic or whatever, I would never sit there and say you're a beautiful woman, and it's just like, is that supposed to like make the situation better? Here's the thing. I felt like when he said that, when he was like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't be transphobic if I didn't sit there and say that." It's one of those classic, really bad cases of I can't be racist because I have black friends. You know, and that's what just comes across as it just comes across as ignorance. Um, but again, I have no ill will towards the actor, or whatever, and you know, I wish the guy best for whatever he does. And hey, if you watch Why Not, well, if you watch Why Not, if you watch B&B, I know at one point he was on there, so maybe you can go back on there. We'll see. Michael and Willow. Not gonna lie, I want to sit there and say that their scenes were pointless, but it felt like among the least interesting part of this episode because the only thing that they wound up doing was talking about Nina, and Willow still wants to sit there and make peace. Michael, Michael wants war, but it's just he wants something to be done, like accountability. Like, yo, listen, if you got to go to jail, whatever you got to do, I don't care. Like, you got to go to jail. And of course, Wiley, Willow is looking at it from like, hey, listen, if she goes to jail, we're gonna have to sit there and visit her in jail. She has money, she can fight. We can go through this whole, custody battle, and it's not good for Wiley, and it's not gonna be good for us. So why don't we just sit there and just, have peace and make peace or whatever. I understand where Willow's coming from. It's one of those things where it's like, now they're wanted, like, their feelings, how they're going about it, isn't invalid, Um, and, ultimately they're going back and forth. Michael's like, listen, let's not even sit there and waste any more time because they're at the gym. And this whole thing really starts off with, Willow sitting there hitting the punching bag kind of hard. So, just pent out aggression or whatever. And Michael's like, listen, let's just table this for another time or whatever. Let's just enjoy our time. And, Michael's like, why don't we go to the city? One second. Michael's like, let's just go to the city, let's see a show, let's just kind of get away. Um, because there's nothing talking about Thanksgiving, and, Willow's like, what happens when Nina comes over for Thanksgiving and wants to give a present and doing all this, that, and the third? It's just like, I don't want to deal with that. Between also dealing with, Karlie on top of Nina is just like exhausting. Um, but again, I said this yesterday. I'm glad that Willow did kind of step up and was like, yo, stay in your lane. There has been 2 times where Willow has impressed me that I can sit there and remember. One was yesterday, and the other one was when she was defending, when she was trying to stop Nell. And she was, handling herself pretty well against Nell. Those are the 2 times that she actually impressed me. I don't even know where I'm going with this, actually. Oh, yeah, they're talking about, you know, Nina coming over for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. And that's when Michael was like, yeah, how about we just go to the city? And then we could just avoid that altogether. Oh, and towards the end, Sonny runs into Nina. I think that's about it. And I still feel like always I missed something. I say that in every review, because I always do feel like I'm missing something. How I remember I actually did one review, and this was like way back when, and I was talking about everyone else, and I specifically remember me forgetting about Finn and Anna, and I made a separate video. I won't be doing that again. I'll just sit there and take the L for that. But the point is, I always feel like I'm missing something. And with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Definitely be safe this weekend, like always, because it's the Wild West out there. And yeah, see you in the next video.